Your energy already knows the future. Introduction. There are moments in your life when something inside you tightens, an invisible hand pulling you back from a room, a person, a decision, though everything around you appears perfectly safe. And there are other times when you step into an unfamiliar place and feel as if you've been there before, as if your energy has already mapped the territory, whispered yes, and your body is only catching up to the memory. You don't know why. You can't explain it, but something deep within you has already made contact. This is not intuition. This is not guesswork. This is the truth of who you are, a being made not just of flesh, but of frequency. You have felt what you could not yet see, again and again. Before the betrayal came, you sensed it in a glance. Before the opportunity appeared, you felt the pull of possibility in your chest. Before you met the person who would change your life, you dreamed of someone faceless but familiar. These were not coincidences. These were energetic echoes from the future, brushing up against your field before they materialized in time. You are a living antenna, vibrating through space. And the universe is not silent. It speaks in pulses, in feelings, in invisible currents that your conscious mind has been trained to ignore. But that does not mean you haven't felt them. It means you forgot how to listen. Everything that becomes visible in your life first passes through your energetic field. Everything, the fight, the miracle, the loss, the breakthrough. Before your eyes saw it, before your ears heard it, before your mouth spoke it, you already felt it. Maybe subtly, maybe in a dream, maybe in a shiver across your skin that made no sense at the time. But your energy knew. Modern science has begun to whisper what the mystics have always shouted, that the physical world is not the starting point of reality. It's the shadow, the echo, the delayed signal. The energetic realm comes first. It's the blueprint. The unseen scaffolding is holding up everything you think is solid. And this energetic blueprint isn't just out there. It moves through you, it speaks through you, it is you. This audiobook is not about teaching you to become something you're not. It's about remembering what you've always been. A sensor of invisible truth, a receiver of unspoken knowledge, a traveler whose soul stretches far beyond the five senses. You were not born blind. You were trained to doubt what you feel. You were taught to silence the knowing that doesn't come with proof, but the deeper truth, you've never needed proof. You've needed permission. This is that permission. Throughout history, the great mystics, prophets, and visionaries, from the temples of ancient Egypt to the oracles of Delphi, from the Vedic rishis to the modern metaphysical thinkers like Neville Goddard and Dolores Cannon, have spoken of a truth that refuses to die, that the soul precedes the body, that energy precedes matter, and that inner perception is not a gift for the few, but a forgotten language in us all. When you walk into a room and feel heavy without knowing why, when you meet someone and instantly sense that they carry something hidden, when you suddenly think of a friend moments before they call, you are not being mystical, you are being accurate. Your energy is reading the field before your mind has time to form a thought. The future isn't coming. It's already brushing against you. The question is, will you recognize it? Most people don't, because we've built our lives on logic, on proof, on things that can be touched and measured and explained. But logic is a closed circuit. It only deals with what already exists in the visible. Your energy doesn't care about the visible. It whispers long before the visible takes shape. And here's the paradox. The more you demand evidence, the less you hear the whisper. That's why your greatest breakthroughs, the moments that changed your life, didn't come through analysis. They came through sensation, through a strange certainty, a quiet inner click, a knowing that had no reason but felt more real than reason ever could. What if you stopped ignoring that signal? What if, instead of asking, "Is this real?" you started asking, "Why does this feel so true?" What if the part of you that feels is more advanced than the part of you that thinks? Because here's the hidden truth. By the time something makes sense to your mind, your energy has already lived it, felt it, passed through it. Energy is not limited by time. It can remember the future. It can grieve what hasn't happened yet. It can rejoice in what hasn't arrived. Because in the energetic realm, there is no later. There is only now. Your soul doesn't think in hours or days. It thinks in alignment, in resonance, in frequency. And when you start to feel a certain pull, or a deep unrest, or a strange excitement that makes no sense at all, pay attention. That's not just a mood. That's your energy responding to a reality that your eyes haven't caught up to yet. Your body feels before your mind knows. You are not here to survive by logic. You are here to evolve through resonance. This audiobook is a map back to your original sensing, not the one conditioned by school and society, but the one you were born with, the one that made you cry in places you didn't understand, the one that gave you chills when you read words that mirrored your soul, the one that warned you in silence and led you in feeling. You are not broken. You are not disconnected. You are not blind. You are tuned. And you are about to remember how to listen. The unseen has already touched you. The signal has already arrived. The only question left is this: will you dare to trust what your energy already knows? Chapter 1. The Law of Pre-sensation. Before anything takes shape in your life, before it manifests into words, actions, or outcomes, there is a moment of contact, an invisible ripple brushing against the edges of your awareness. You may not notice it. You may ignore it. You may even call it a coincidence, but it is real, and it is precise. This is the law of pre-sensation, the universal truth that your energy always touches the future before your eyes do. It is the principle that feeling precedes form, that vibration comes before the physical, and that your emotional reactions are not just echoes of the past. They are often previews of what's to come. You have felt it. That strange tightening in your gut before a decision that seemed right, but somehow wasn't. That soft inner expansion when someone entered the room and your entire being leaned in, without knowing why. That sensation of déjà vu, not as a memory but as a confirmation. These are not flukes, they are fragments of the future, delivered to your energy field in advance. Neville Goddard called it, "Feeling is the secret." Not because emotion is decoration, but because feeling is the mechanism, the blueprint, the creative substance from which the physical emerges. According to Goddard, the world is not shaped by willpower, but by inner states. What you feel consistently, you become. What you assume with conviction, you manifest. But here's what they didn't tell you in school. Assumptions are not just mental thoughts, they are energetic alignments. And alignment begins not with thought, but with sensation. You are always feeling the shape of your future before it unfolds. Your field is that sensitive, that attuned. You're not waiting for the future to arrive. You're already brushing against it. Every time your energy shifts, your timeline begins to reorganize. Every time you sense unease, desire, excitement, or resistance, you are receiving data from the invisible web that connects all things. You are not alone in a vacuum. You are suspended in a sea of vibration, and that sea is alive with direction. The problem is you've been taught to ignore it. You've been taught that only what is measurable matters. Those feelings are soft, that gut instincts are unreliable. But this is one of the great lies of our age, because the truth is your body is an ancient instrument, far more sophisticated than your rational mind. Your nervous system is not just reacting to the environment, it is scanning for coherence and resonance at all times. When something is about to fall apart, your body often knows first. When something is about to bloom, your body softens, long before your thoughts catch up. You are an energetic oracle, constantly being informed by fields you cannot see. Have you ever walked into a room after two people have argued, even if they're smiling, and instantly felt the tension hanging in the air? Have you ever touched an object that belonged to someone and felt their emotions surge through your fingers? That's not imagination, that's pre-sensation. Everything emits a frequency, and your field, your personal energy body, is constantly absorbing, translating, and responding to those frequencies. Whether or not your conscious mind interprets them correctly is irrelevant. Your field never lies. And so the real work begins with noticing. Noticing what you feel before the mind interferes. Noticing when something feels off, even if you can't prove it. Noticing when something feels aligned, even if it seems illogical. Your mind waits for permission. Your energy does not. And when you begin to notice those subtle sensations without dismissing them, something extraordinary happens. Your inner compass activates. You begin to live not by effort, but by attunement. You begin to move through the world like a magnet, pulled not by fear or strategy, but by what feels like an invisible yes. This is not fantasy. This is a metaphysical law. Everything is energy. Everything. Your thoughts, your emotions, your choices, your memories, they all radiate. They all shape your frequency. And frequency doesn't attract what you want. It attracts what you are. Which means you don't chase outcomes. You become the version of you that those outcomes naturally align with. This is the silent shift, the internal pivot, the choice to feel your way forward, not just think your way there. Because when you align with what already feels true, the world reshapes around you. Reality bends, not because you forced it, but because your frequency gave it no choice. But this path requires a new kind of courage. Not the courage to fight, but the courage to trust. To trust that what you feel before you see is not delusion, it's direction. To trust that your energy has already stepped into a room your body hasn't reached. To trust that your soul knows the next step, even if your logic screams for a map. You were not meant to navigate this life blindfolded by doubt. You were meant to feel your way like a river finding the sea. The law of presensation does not mean that every feeling is prophetic. It means that every feeling is a message. Some are signals from your past selves, others are warnings, but many are previews, glimpses, whispers of what your energy is already walking toward. The mistake is in thinking you must understand them to receive them. You don't. You must only listen. So when something stirs within you, pay attention. When your stomach flips before the phone rings. When your body pulls back before your mouth says yes. When your skin tingles for no reason at all. Pause, listen, notice. Because these are not just signals, they are sacred messages. And once you begin to honor them, your entire life begins to reorient. You stop walking into traps that your mind justifies. You stop missing miracles that your logic couldn't recognize. You start living from the inside out. This is the way of energy, the way of remembering what your body, your soul, and your subconscious already know. You are not late. You are not lost. You are not broken. You are already feeling the next chapter of your life. Will you let yourself trust what you cannot yet see? Chapter 2. The Etheric Field and Cellular Knowing. There is a layer of you that science is only beginning to glimpse, yet mystics, seers, and healers have described it for thousands of years. It is not your skin, not your blood, not even your mind. It is the subtle sheath of energy that pulses just beyond the visible, the etheric field. You may not see it, but you felt it. When someone walks into the room and your entire body reacts without a word being exchanged. When you feel heavy in a place that looks bright. When you place your hand over your heart and sense something shifting, even though your thoughts haven't caught up. That's your etheric body responding, not to what is visible, but to what is true. Theosophical teachings describe the etheric field as the energetic double of the physical body. It is the bridge between spirit and flesh, the template that holds your form in place. Before cells divide, before skin grows, before bones calcify, there is energy, there is a pattern, there is structure, and the etheric field carries that structure. Your body is not just made of atoms, it is held together by frequency, and that frequency carries memory. Every cell in your body remembers the energy it has absorbed, not just through trauma or repetition, but through presence. Your skin remembers touches you no longer think about. Your muscles remember tension from old fear. Your nervous system stores every wave of safety or danger, long after your conscious mind has forgotten. This is what it means to have cellular knowing, to feel something is off before a word is spoken, to sense that something beautiful is about to happen before there's any sign of it, not because you've seen the future, but because your body has already felt its arrival. Your cells are not waiting for permission. They are reading the field, and the field is full of signals, full of energy, full of the emotions, intentions, and frequencies of everything around you. You are not walking through empty space. You are moving through a saturated ocean of energetic data. Your etheric field acts like a membrane, filtering, interpreting, absorbing. And when something enters your space, whether it's a person, a thought, or a possibility, your field responds first. That's why you sometimes feel exhausted after being around certain people, even if they say all the right things. It's why you sometimes feel energized by someone you barely know, even if they never say a word. The words don't matter. The field speaks first. The modern world doesn't teach you how to listen to that voice. It teaches you to override it, to doubt your impressions, to explain away your discomfort. But your energy doesn't operate on explanation. It operates on vibration. You are not rational first, you are relational. Your body is constantly seeking coherence, harmony between your inner and outer world. And when something is out of tune, you feel it. That's not drama. That's the truth. That's your field asking you to pay attention. The ancients understood this. In Egyptian temples, the initiates trained for years to heighten their sensitivity to unseen energy, not to gain power, but to become trustworthy vessels of it. In Ayurvedic medicine, the body is understood to be one sheath among many, the physical, only the outermost garment of the soul. Beneath it lie the energetic, mental, and spiritual layers, all interwoven. And the etheric field is the thread that binds them. When you walk into a new space and feel instantly calm, that's not random. Your etheric body is responding to an environment that holds harmony. When you think about a decision and feel your stomach twist, that's not just nerves. That's your field rejecting an energetic mismatch. But here's what matters most. The more you ignore these sensations, the quieter they become. The more you honor them, the stronger they grow. You were not designed to live disconnected. You were designed to live informed by your field, by your body, by your inner knowing. The mind is brilliant, but slow. The field is fast, instant. It knows before you do. It speaks in a language older than words. Vibration, warmth, chill, ache, electricity, lightness, resistance, and it speaks constantly. You are not lacking information. You are flooded with it. What you must learn is how to listen, not with your ears, but with your skin, with your breath, with the space around you, because your field is listening all the time. The only question is, will your mind catch up? We've been trained to live from the neck up, to dismiss the sensations that don't fit our logic. But your soul is not limited to your skull. It permeates your body. It sings through your tissues. It pulses through your blood. Your entire form is an echo of your energetic origin. And that origin is always communicating with you. When you feel sudden exhaustion after thinking about someone, notice it. When your hands grow warm in the presence of a new idea, pause and receive. When your skin breaks out, your breath shortens, your gut clenches without reason, stop assuming it's stress. Ask your field what it's already feeling. This is the return to spiritual intelligence, not the kind found in books, but the kind etched into your being. You are not separate from the field. You are the field, localized, embodied, responsive. And here's the paradox. The more you tune into the etheric, the more real your life becomes. Not vague, not woo-woo, real, clear, aligned. Because energy doesn't lie. It doesn't manipulate, it reflects. Your life does not change because you think new thoughts. It changes because your frequency shifts, because your cells respond differently, because your field no longer tolerates incoherence. That's the quiet revolution. You don't have to beg the universe to change. You have to become energetically incompatible with what no longer belongs. Your etheric field will do the rest. And when you live from that place, not analysis, not emotion, but subtle knowing, your world begins to organize around clarity. Your energy becomes a filter, a magnet, a compass. And the things you used to chase, they start finding you. Not because you forced them, but because your field finally said, yes, you don't need more answers. You need to feel what's already here. Are you ready to let your body remember what your mind has forgotten? Chapter 3. Karma is felt before it arrives. There are moments in your life when you feel a strange heaviness before anything goes wrong. No crisis has occurred, no message has arrived, and yet something inside you tightens, like a storm cloud moving across your chest. Later, when the event happens, when the betrayal unfolds or the loss takes its form, you look back and whisper to yourself, "I knew it." That whisper is not superstition. It is not paranoia. It is a spiritual truth. Your energy was already receiving what your mind couldn't yet translate. Karma is not punishment. It is resonance, and resonance is always felt before it is seen. You do not stumble into experiences randomly. They come to you through a law that is far more intelligent, ancient, and just than the world has taught you to believe. Karma is the energetic balancing of your soul's past intentions, choices, thoughts, and actions across lifetimes. But more importantly, karma is not some external judgment cast upon you. It is a frequency in your field, a code vibrating beneath the surface of your being, and it announces itself long before it plays out. That moment of dread before you receive the diagnosis, the nervous tension before you meet someone who mirrors your deepest wounds, the unexplainable pull toward a place you've never been, or the magnetic repulsion from someone who hasn't done anything wrong. These are not just feelings, they are energetic timelines colliding. Dolores Cannon spoke of soul contracts, agreements made before birth, designed to help you remember who you are. These contracts are written in energy, not ink. And while you may not recall them consciously, your body does, your field does, your emotions do. That's why certain patterns repeat in your life, not because you're cursed, but because the lesson remains unresolved. And before the pattern repeats again, your energy feels it coming. You've said it yourself. Why do I keep attracting the same type of person? Or, how did I not see this coming? But you did see it. You felt it. You ignored it because it didn't make sense on paper. But karma doesn't show up in logic. It shows up in feeling. It shows up in mood. It shows up in energy. Karma is not something that happens to you. It's something you're carrying. And like a signal, it emits through your field, attracting the people, events, and opportunities that match it. This is why forgiveness is not just a moral ideal. It's a metaphysical key. When you forgive, you change your frequency. When you release resentment, you shift timelines. You dissolve the echo of old karma before it becomes form. The same applies to joy. When you feel an unexplained excitement, a sense of being pulled forward by something beautiful you haven't yet lived, that is karmic too. You are remembering a destiny long set in motion, calling you back to your original path, and you feel it, always, not with your mind, but with your energy, with your body. This is why you cry at certain movies and don't know why. Why do you feel overwhelming grief walking through places you've never visited? Why does someone's eyes shake something in you that has no story attached? You are remembering. You are recognizing a vibration your soul has already danced with. And when karma approaches, whether through pain or breakthrough, you rarely feel surprised. Because in truth, nothing ever comes unannounced. It simply comes before you're willing to admit you heard the signal. The goal is not to become paranoid, reading every feeling as a prediction of doom. The goal is to become sovereign, aware that your energy is a sensitive radar, not just reacting to life but perceiving it in advance. There is a reason you resist some decisions even when they look perfect. There's a reason you delay reaching out to someone, even though your mind says you should. That reason is not fear. It is recognition. Your field has seen the karma circling, and it is asking you to pause, to listen, to choose differently. We are not puppets of fate. We are participants in a cosmic dance of memory and creation. What you feel now is not just about this moment. It is the convergence of every thought, every act, every vibration you've ever emitted. Your present emotional state is the broadcast of your accumulated soul experience. And here's the miracle. The moment you become aware of it, the energy begins to change. Karma is not fixed. It is fluid. Like light passing through a prism, it refracts, depending on your current angle of awareness. You can transmute karmic residue by becoming conscious of it, by blessing the pain, by forgiving the past, by honoring the feeling instead of dismissing it. Because the feeling is the signal, Some karmas pass through you softly, others come like fire, but every one of them holds a gift, a remembering. And long before they reach the physical, they pass through your etheric field. They knock, they vibrate, they ask for attention. And if you're still enough, present enough, brave enough, you can feel them. The question is not whether you have karma. You do, everyone does. The question is, are you listening to its language? It speaks in patterns, in triggers, in emotional waves that rise with no apparent cause. The more you resist it, the louder it becomes. The more you meet it with compassion, the more it dissolves. And the more you feel it early, the more you honor that intuitive unease or that unshakable excitement, the more you change your relationship to time itself. Because you are no longer just reacting to karma as it arrives, you are pre-sensing it, transmuting it, healing it before it takes form. You were never meant to stumble in the dark. You were meant to walk with the light of your own awareness, to sense the weather of your soul long before the storm or sunshine reaches the sky of your life. So next time something stirs in your gut, before you rationalize it away, ask, what am I being asked to remember? What lesson is asking to be completed? What cycle is returning so I can finally release it? You don't need all the answers. You just need to stop pretending you haven't already felt the truth. Your body knows. Your field knows. Your soul knows. Karma is not coming. It's already here. It's always been here. Now, are you ready to meet it with eyes open and energy clear? Chapter 4. The Magnetic Pulse of Desire. Desire is not a weakness. It is not a temptation. It is not a selfish craving to be extinguished. Desire, true desire, is sacred. It is the magnetic pull of the future calling you forward. Not as a fantasy, but as a memory you haven't lived yet. You've been taught to mistrust your desires, to see them as dangerous, impractical, or even sinful. But those are lies woven by a world afraid of its own power. Because if you were to truly honor the deep, mysterious yearnings within you, you would awaken, you would break the pattern, you would stop obeying what's safe and start following what's real. This is what the great mystics knew. Assume that the wish has been fulfilled, Neville Goddard once said. However, he wasn't merely acting. He was trying to recall, to understand that your desires have already been imprinted on your energy field and are not something apart from you. That is the reason it haunts you. You can't let it go for that reason. That's why it makes you feel something that is inexplicable to reason, because desire is not just a personal preference, it's an energetic prophecy. The moment you feel a true desire, not a passing impulse, not an egoic craving, but a soul-aligned pull, your energy has already made contact with the reality of it, and your entire field begins to reorient. Your thoughts shift, your behavior changes. Your perception begins to reorganize around a future that your body has already started to inhabit. That's why some dreams won't leave you, not because you're obsessed, but because you've already touched them in another frequency. And the ache you feel is the ache of separation, the spiritual longing to return to what is already yours in the unseen. You're not imagining it, you're remembering it. This is the magnetic pulse of desire, the way the future reaches into your present through sensation. You feel it before you see it. You ache for it before you name it. You are pulled toward it before you understand why. And the more aligned that desire is with your soul's purpose, the stronger the pull becomes. It begins to override your excuses. It silences your doubt. It hums beneath every conversation, reminding you, this is why you're here. And yet, so many people ignore it, dismiss it, run from it, because it's inconvenient, because it's risky, because it doesn't fit the mold they were given. But ignoring desire doesn't make it disappear. It just buries it deeper. And buried desire turns into frustration, into resentment, into stagnation. You weren't meant to live like that. You weren't meant to trade your fire for comfort. Desire is not meant to be managed. It's meant to be honored. When you truly feel a soul desire, when your body lights up, your chest expands, your skin tingles, that is your energy field saying, yes. That is your inner guidance system pointing toward the timeline where your fullness lives. Desire is your compass. And here's the secret. You don't have to chase it. You have to become it. Because when you feel the frequency of what you desire, deeply, completely, consistently, you are broadcasting the signature of that reality. And reality cannot ignore a field that is coherent. It must respond. It must organize itself around your vibration. That's not magic. That's resonance. When your energy sings the song of your desire, life begins to dance to that rhythm. But most people never sing. They whisper. They apologize. They hesitate. They say things like, someday, maybe, or only if it makes sense. But soul-aligned desires rarely make sense. They aren't logical, they are inevitable. You didn't choose your deepest desires. They chose you. And they didn't come to tease you. They came to awaken you. Desire is proof that a version of you already exists where that desire is fulfilled. And the moment you feel it, not with doubt, but with reverence, you begin to vibrate closer to that version. This is not about faking confidence. It's about embodying alignment. You don't have to force manifestation. You don't have to visualize obsessively. You only need to feel what's real beneath the fear, to honor the sacred message that desire is delivering. You are meant for more, not more status, not more possessions, more truth, more soul, more alignment. And yes, sometimes that alignment will bring you into wealth, into love, into art, into impact. But those things are not the goal. They are the reflection, the outer expression of your inner coherence. And here's what the ego doesn't understand. When you truly feel your desire without resistance, without shame, without apology, it starts moving toward you, because you've become energetically open to receiving it, not in theory but in vibration. So how do you know when a desire is real? You feel expanded when you think about it. You feel joy, not just craving, peace, not just urgency. It whispers to you in stillness. It persists through obstacles. It lives in your body like a song you can't forget. You've had that feeling before. Maybe when you were a child, you dreamed without fear. Maybe when you imagined a life that felt too big to be possible. Maybe when you said, "What if?" and your whole body leaned forward. That was never fantasy. That was your field aligning with your higher path. And even now, you can feel it again, can't you? The thing you've been avoiding. The desire that keeps circling back. The dream that doesn't die. It's not leaving. Because it's not separate from you. Your desire is the voice of your becoming. And when you let yourself feel it fully, bravely, without interruption, you don't just hope for the future, you become the future. And everything in creation begins to move. Chapter 5. The Subconscious, Your Inner Oracle. The most powerful force shaping your life is the one you barely notice. It doesn't speak in words. It doesn't argue. It doesn't need proof. It simply accepts. It absorbs, and then it creates. This force is your subconscious mind, not a storage room for forgotten thoughts, but the sacred soil where your energetic intentions take root and bloom into reality. The subconscious is not beneath you, it is within you. A silent, omnipresent field of memory, emotion, belief, and vibration. It is the inner oracle that always knows the truth, even when your surface thoughts lie to you. And just like your energy field, it responds to feeling, not to logic. Joseph Murphy called the subconscious the builder of your body and your world. Not poetically, literally. It regulates your heartbeat without your consent. It controls your immune system without your awareness. And it also molds your outer life according to the internal images, emotions, and assumptions you consistently entertain. But here's the mystery. The subconscious is not bound by time. It doesn't distinguish between the real and the imagined. It doesn't care if something has happened yet or not. What it responds to is the emotional vibration you give it, the feeling tone, the energetic signal. That means when you feel something strongly, whether it's joy or terror, love or fear, abundance or lack, your subconscious begins aligning your reality to match it. Your energy has already felt what you cannot yet see because your subconscious is already broadcasting what your conscious mind hasn't accepted. It's why you sometimes feel overwhelmed for no reason. Why does a wave of sadness or excitement rise up in the middle of an ordinary day. It's your subconscious whispering, "Look deeper." Something is happening. The truth is, your inner world is alive with signals, dreams, symbols, gut feelings, emotional reactions, sudden shifts in mood. They are all messages from your subconscious. They are invitations to pause, to listen, to interpret what your deeper self already knows. You are not waiting for signs. You are flooded with them. But most people have never been taught how to read them. They've been trained to override their inner oracle with analysis, to rationalize the irrational, to silence the voice of the body with the noise of the mind. But the subconscious doesn't care about noise. It listens to energy. You can tell yourself you're confident, but if your vibration is laced with fear, the subconscious will follow the fear. You can repeat affirmations all day, but if your body is tense and your chest is closed, the message received is resistance, not belief. This is why Neville Goddard insisted on feeling the wish fulfilled, not just thinking it. Because the subconscious doesn't respond to thought, it responds to the energetic tone behind the thought. When you imagine yourself successful and feel expanded, calm and grounded, your subconscious hears, "This is real. This is safe. This is now." When you imagine yourself loved but feel anxious and unworthy, it hears, "This is a fantasy. This is not me." Your inner oracle is not judging you. It's reflecting you. Always. That's why true transformation doesn't come from trying harder. It comes from feeling differently, from aligning your internal state with the frequency of what you desire until your subconscious has no choice but to accept it as your new normal. And this is the secret path. When your energy consistently holds the vibration of a reality, that reality must eventually conform. Because the subconscious does not resist consistency, it amplifies it. So what do you do with this knowledge? You begin to feel on purpose, not just randomly, not just when good things happen. You cultivate a state, you nourish a frequency. You live as if the future has already landed in your heart, and you let that energy change how you move through the world. And when old beliefs rise up, when shame or doubt or fear knock on your door, you don't fight them. You meet them with awareness, because your subconscious is not your enemy. It's your echo. It's carrying the vibrations you fed it in the past, and now you get to offer it something new, through visualization, through breath, through movement, through repetition, through emotion. You become the author of your inner script. You stop letting the past decide what comes next. You stop reacting from wounds and start responding from alignment. And your subconscious, loyal and neutral as it is, begins to shape your life to match your new energy. It's already happening. Every time you catch yourself in a pattern and choose a different response, your field shifts. Every time you honor a feeling instead of ignoring it, your field recalibrates. Every time you breathe through fear and return to trust, your field becomes magnetic. This is not self-help. This is energetic law. You are not at the mercy of your mind. You are the master of your inner weather. And when you understand how the subconscious receives instructions, you start begging reality to change and begin communicating with it from the inside out. You're not just thinking. You're imprinting. You're not just feeling. You're programming. You're not just reacting. You're redesigning. And in the quiet space between thought and form, between emotion and outcome, your subconscious is already rearranging your world. So next time you feel something powerful, pause. Don't analyze it away. Feel it fully. Ask, what is my inner oracle trying to show me? Because if you listen closely, you'll realize your energy is not waiting. It's already listening, already responding, already building what you've dared to feel. Chapter 6. The Fog of Logic, the Clarity of Energy. Your mind was built to protect you. It was built to scan for danger, to organize chaos, to give names to the unknown. But somewhere along the way, you were taught to worship it, to treat logic as God, to treat reason as the only truth. And in doing so, you forgot how to feel. You learned to trust facts more than sensations. You learned to wait for evidence before moving. You learned to dismiss what didn't make sense, even when your whole body was screaming the truth. And yet logic cannot see the whole picture. It was never meant to. Logic is limited to the past. It draws from memory, from pattern, from what has already happened. It is a machine of comparison, and it has no vocabulary for the mystical, the spontaneous, the miraculous. But your energy does. Energy doesn't argue. It doesn't justify. It doesn't debate. It simply knows. And this knowing often appears irrational, because it comes from a place your logic cannot enter. Have you ever felt drawn to someone instantly without explanation? Have you ever walked away from an opportunity that seemed perfect on paper because something felt off? Have you ever made a leap that defied all reason and later discovered it was the best decision you ever made? That was clarity, not mental clarity, energetic clarity, the kind of clarity that does not arrive through thought but through alignment. You were clear not because you understood but because you felt, and that feeling? It lives in the space beneath your mind, in your heart, in your gut, in your field. But we live in a world that has silenced this knowing, a world that tells you, if you can't prove it, it's not real, a world that rewards conformity and punishes instinct, a world built on the fog of logic. And yet, deep inside, you still remember. You remember the times you knew without knowing how. The times your intuition whispered and life confirmed it later. The times you were right before you could explain why. Those weren't coincidences. They were echoes of the clarity that lives in your field. Your logical mind will always demand certainty, but your soul speaks in resonance, in the subtle way your chest expands in some places and contracts in others, in the way your breath deepens when you're aligned and becomes shallow when you're not, in the lightness that follows truth and the tension that follows compromise. You were born fluent in this language, and you can learn it again. It begins with slowing down, by noticing how you feel before you ask if something makes sense, giving yourself permission to trust your body's response even when the facts disagree. Because facts can be manipulated, but frequency never lies. A smile can hide betrayal. A resume can disguise a soul out of integrity. A price tag can blind you to emptiness. But your energy, your internal compass, will always register the truth. That's why spiritual clarity often looks like madness from the outside, because the world sees risk, but your soul sees alignment. The world sees uncertainty, but your energy feels resonant. And when you begin to follow that resonance, your life takes on a different rhythm. You stop explaining yourself, you stop needing permission, you stop waiting for everything to make sense. Because you realize that sense is not the same as truth. And the truth is not always logical, but it is always liberating. The mind wants straight lines, energy moves in spirals, and sometimes, to find your way forward, you must leave the map behind and follow the current beneath your feet. This is not recklessness, this is listening. This is learning to trust the deepest intelligence within you, the one that does not speak in words, but in sensations, in symbols, in stillness. You've experienced this before. When you walked away from something that should have worked but didn't feel right, when you moved toward something new with no guarantee, but a deep peace in your body. That wasn't luck, that was clarity. And the more you honor it, the more it grows. You begin to build a life based not on logic but on energy integrity. You stop saying yes when your body says no. You stop chasing what looks good and start choosing what feels true. You stop trying to explain your path to those who don't walk by feeling. And in return, you get freedom. Because when your life is aligned with your energy, everything moves smoothly, conversations flow, opportunities arrive, healing accelerates. Not because you tried harder, but because you stopped betraying yourself. This is the real power of energetic clarity. It returns you to coherence. Coherence is the state where your heart, your mind, your body, and your field are aligned. It's the state where you are not split between logic and intuition, where your nervous system is not at war with your decisions, where your presence becomes magnetic because it's whole. And in this state, you don't have to push, you don't have to prove, you don't have to convince, you simply are. And your energy speaks for you. So the next time you feel confused, don't overthink. Close your eyes. Breathe. Tune in. Ask yourself, where does my body feel open? Where does it feel tight? Where is the yes hiding beneath my fear? Because beneath the fog of logic, the clarity of energy is always waiting. You don't have to understand everything. You just have to feel what's real and honor it. Chapter 7. The Energetic Blueprint of Reality. Your life is not a blank slate. It is not a random sequence of events stitched together by chance. It is a projection, a mirror, a map that unfolds according to an invisible design, written not in ink, but in energy. This design is your energetic blueprint. Before anything becomes form, it exists in the field. Before the meeting, the opportunity, the illness, the transformation, there is a frequency, a vibration, a pattern in the unseen. And that pattern does not come from outside of you, it radiates through you. You are not the receiver of reality, you are the transmitter. The blueprint is already pulsing from your energy field, and life, with all its synchronicities and surprises, is simply responding. Dolores Cannon, in her decades of quantum hypnosis work, spoke of countless souls tapping into parallel lives, versions of themselves that had already taken different paths. In these sessions, people accessed not just memories but timelines, roads not yet walked, but already felt, and each one she discovered was accessible through resonance, through vibration, through frequency. You don't step into the future by waiting, you step into it by aligning. This is why sometimes you feel an idea before it becomes reality. Why certain dreams carry a clarity that feels more real than waking life. Why do you meet someone and feel as though you've known them for centuries? Your field has already touched the frequency of that timeline, and the more you attune to it, the more you breathe it, believe it, feel it, the more it collapses into the now. This isn't fantasy, it's metaphysics. You are living within a holographic field, and your perception acts like a sculptor. What you expect, what you believe, what you deeply feel, these aren't passive states, they are creative commands. And the universe, infinitely intelligent and unconditionally responsive, follows the blueprint you emit, which means if you want to change your life, don't start with your actions. Start with your frequency. Start with the silent conversation you're having with the field. Start with the way your body reacts to your own thoughts, the way your breath changes when you imagine your future, the way your emotions spike when you consider what's possible. These reactions are not accidental. They are revealing your alignment, your calibration, your energetic match. Most people live reactively. They let the field be dictated by fear, by habit, by ancestral pain. But you have a choice. You can edit the blueprint. You can choose the vibration you hold. And when you do, everything begins to shift, because the blueprint is alive. It's not carved in stone. It is a living field of probabilities, and the strongest signal wins. The clearest emotion becomes the sculptor of the moment. That's why even one deep realization can change everything. One profound feeling of alignment can alter the path. And this path is not a straight line, it's a spiral. You revisit lessons, you loop through choices, you return to the same fork in the road again and again until your energy changes. That's the key. Life doesn't repeat because you're doomed. It repeats because your field hasn't shifted yet. But the moment it does, everything obeys the new design. So, how do you change your energetic blueprint? By becoming conscious of it, by witnessing your patterns without shame, by noticing what your body feels drawn to and what it contracts around, by breathing into the version of yourself that already lives the life you desire, by collapsing the distance between now and then, not by force, but by frequency. This is not pretending, this is remembering. Because if you can feel it, if it lives in your imagination with a real pulse, then it exists. In some timeline, in some version of your life, it's already real. And your energy is your ticket there. Your devotion to that vibration is the bridge. And here's the mystery. The field is listening. Always. When you complain, it listens. When you celebrate, it listens. When you doubt, when you rejoice, when you grieve, when you choose, it listens. Not to your words, but to your signal. So start speaking through your energy. Speak gratitude, not just with your voice, but with your nervous system. Speak clearly, not just with your affirmations, but with your breath. Speak truth not just with your beliefs but with your posture, your walk, your rhythm, because the field does not speak English, or Spanish, or numbers. It speaks vibration. It speaks coherently. It speaks of integrity. And when your inner world becomes coherent, when your thoughts, emotions, body, and spirit vibrate in harmony, the blueprint updates. The pattern shifts. The old story dissolves, and a new reality rushes in to meet you. This is the quantum leap, not a jump through space, but a jump through state. It's not something you achieve, it's something you tune into. And the miracle is this: you're already broadcasting something. You're already holding a blueprint. So why not choose it consciously? Why not stop waiting for the future and start becoming the frequency of the future? Because when you do, the future has no choice but to show up. Not because you chased it, but because you remembered you are not just living inside reality, you are creating it. Closing transmission. When you feel it, it has already begun. There's something you've known all along, not with your intellect, not with your words, but with your body, with your breath, with the space between your thoughts where truth waits like still water, untouched, unmoved, undemanding. You felt it in the quiet moments, in the pull that led you to people you couldn't explain, to dreams you couldn't forget, to choices that seemed foolish, but felt like home. You've been told to wait for signs. But what if the sign was the feeling itself? What if that ache in your chest was the answer? What if that sudden burst of peace in the middle of chaos was the confirmation? What if that fear wasn't a warning, but an invitation to walk through the threshold anyway, because the future was already arriving through your fingertips? You were never meant to see first and feel second. You were designed to feel first, because energy always leads. The truth is, when you feel it, it has already begun. By the time your mind catches up, your soul has already walked ahead. Your subconscious has already shifted. Your field has already said yes or no, and the universe has already started responding. That is not fiction, that is the law. Everything in this audiobook has been a remembrance, not a revelation. You knew this, you've always known this. You just needed the permission to trust what has always been whispering through your bones. You are not a passive observer of reality. You are its architect. And your blueprint isn't made of blue ink. It's made of frequency, feeling, resonance. When you walk into a space and feel electric, don't ignore it. When you think of someone and your whole body softens, don't rationalize it away. When you lie awake at night with a vision so vivid it moves you to tears, don't wait for it to make sense. It already does, just not to your logic, to your soul. You've been sensing futures long before they showed up. You've been absorbing signals from people who hadn't yet spoken. You've been responding to timelines your eyes couldn't yet perceive. You're not crazy. You're early. You're not lost. You're attuned. And the more you choose to feel, truly feel, without the need to justify, prove, or explain, the more your world will start to reflect your inner truth, because the field has always obeyed coherence, not words, not pressure, not effort, coherence. The state of being where your mind, your heart, your body, and your soul all agree, and when that agreement is reached, the world bends, timelines collapse, opportunities appear, people shift, paths open, not because you forced it, but because you aligned with it. You don't manifest by making things happen. You manifest by becoming a frequency that reality can't ignore. So take a breath. Close your eyes. Feel your life before it arrives. Because when your energy says yes, the universe listens. And when your field has already felt what your eyes cannot yet see, you don't need to chase anything. You only need to walk into what's already been waiting for you. This isn't the end. It's the beginning you already felt coming. Now, trust it.